There. Hello, everybody. Welcome back. I'm just going to click this thing down here. Ta-da. Okay. A long time ago, I read something that made me laugh very hard. And as time has gone by, I have seen greater and greater wisdom in it. And the thing that I read was never trust a writer. Because what they do is they take what's going on and they write it down. And sometimes writers will take the thing they wrote down off the page and talk about it. So I had this extraordinary conversation with a remarkable friend of mine who is a true Valkyrie in the purest sense of the word. And we were talking about runaway trains. We were talking about things that just completely get out of hand. And she was frantically tap dancing her way around this particular disaster. And I'm listening to this and then this and then this, and I don't know, and it's crazy, and I can't. And I said, yeah, "Can I ask a question?" She said, "Yes, ask a question." I said, "Is it your train? What? This runaway train that you're dealing with? Is it yours?" Oh, oh, I, uh, no. Then what business is it of yours? Did they hire you? Do you have some kind of responsibility for the outcome of the train? Well, as a friend, as a no. And then we we kind of danced around it, and I realized that I had the topic for the conversation today, because here's the thing that we often do about so many things, so many moments in our lives, is that we see something that is falling apart, crumbling in someone's hands. And we say to ourselves, "Here, let me help you with that." And we say that with the best of intentions. We say that as caring people. We say that as individuals who want to give back. We say that as people who believe we can see a strategic solution to a problem. And God bless us, everyone, for doing that. The thing we forget in this rush to rescue, in this rush to coordinate. Well, good morning, Vern. Well, awake today, surrounded by many of the cirque performers. Of all the astonishing things that I have woken up to in my life, cirque performers aren't any of the top 500. Well done, Vern. So, what I'm talking about today is our spontaneous impulse to take ownership of something that is not ours to own. Our spontaneous desire to fix something that we feel capable of, if not fixing entirely on our own, contributing to the positive outcome. And as I said, God bless us everyone. The point that we ignore, the point that we forget in our rush to be that solution model is, who asked you? Did somebody ask you? Do you have the skill? Did you have nothing else to do? You have an entire 24, 48, 932 hours you are unable to fill for yourself about your stuff? Okay, then carry on. I'll just go over here. What happens to so many of us, and my friend and I were joking about it last night. I said, I still do it. I still do it. I'm guilty of it. I I don't know I'm doing it while I'm doing it, but immediately afterwards I think, there's an 8 by 10 of me doing that again. I assume that people who are not showing up, people who are choosing not to do their job, are simply having a bad day. I can't imagine people not showing up. I can't. I mean, if you're not going to show up, stay home. Stay under the bed. Why go out and get in everybody's way if you're not going to show up? If you're not going to say, I got this end of it. That has always been my thing. And many years ago, a friend of mine who has serious Viking roots said to me kindly, as one does to a hopeful child, you do know that the Vikings had to qualify to get in the boat, right? And I said, yeah, sure. Shit. Because I had kind of ignored that. I had assumed that if they were on the dock with a little bag in hand, that they were ready to row. Never occurs to me that they think it's a cruise. Do I look like I'm on a cruise? And he said, you do. You look like you're having the best time ever. Nobody sees you sweat. And I said, well, they're not looking very hard. And he said, oh, you'd be surprised. You'd be surprised. You look like you're having the best time, even when your pants are on fire. It looks like so much fun. Okay, then, I said. Let me make a note of that and go and think about that when I have some time. So this conversation I was having with my friend went like this. I don't know what to do because, and I'm just so upset because I don't know what to do about. And then I said, tell me what you don't know what to do about. And I got the story. And I said, okay, but that's not yours to own. That's not your issue. Well, but as a friend, I said, no, it's not your issue as a friend, and it's not your issue as an end table, and it's not your issue as a standing lamp. It's not your issue. Well, I just want to help. Okay, so you want to help, but it's not your issue. Did they ask you to help? Yes, they always do. Okay. And why aren't they doing anything? Well, they always tell me I'm so strong. Ah, okay. And they always tell me how grateful they are because I'm always there for them. Uh-huh. And I said, are they there for you? Well, when they have been, so, but not now. Well, no. I said, okay. So first of all, a couple of things. It's not a balance sheet. You did this for me, therefore, it's not that. It's not, I did this for you, therefore you owe me one. That's not how it works. Because if I did this for you, it doesn't automatically mean that you qualify to help me now. You may be no good at whatever this is. So we need to go back to the question, what if I can't stop the runaway train? And usually when we ask ourselves that, we're hysterical. We've lost our minds entirely because we're caught up in the momentum of an issue, of a problem that may or may not be ours to deal with, to own. So what I was saying at the outset, as I wrote this episode 166, what if I can't stop the runaway train? And my questions are several. Is it our train? What? Is it our train? Are we responsible for this train? No? Well then, why are you trying to stop it? Why are we trying to stop it? What are we doing? Do we know how to stop it? Did someone put us in charge? Who put us in charge? Why aren't they stopping? And let's say for some reason we feel an obligation, which is another thing to discuss, and we can't stop it. We have choices. Get off the train. Wave goodbye to the train. Rescue people if you can, but there is zero reason to ride the train into the abyss. It ceases to be our train when it goes, get off the train. And the reason I wanted to talk about this is on the more serious side. They always turn to me. And I said, well, of course they turn to you. You keep doing all the work. I'd turn to you too. And I said, and I explained to her that I have friends now, former clients who are therapists, who had to tell me everything they know in order for me to ghostwrite their books for with them. You hear the siren in the background? Someone somewhere is riding a runaway train. We cannot be all things to all people. The person who controls from the one down position, I love that expression, controlling from the one down position, is learned helplessness. You're so strong. I never finished college. I so admire you. You always seem to know what to do. Okay. But you can help. It's your drain. And they keep finding reasons why they can't. When my friend was saying, here's this situation and I don't know what to do. and I said, well, have you tried to discuss it? They won't listen. They override me. Of course, they don't want you to tell them a really good reason why they have to own this themselves. It's their damn train. That's why they don't want to hear you. They're basically going la 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 la, right? They're overriding you. They're trying to wear you down so you say, okay, fine, I'll do that. Don't do it. It's not your train. Because, by the way, it's not your train. And if it doesn't work, they blame you. They didn't have to do any work. You did all the work. If it doesn't work, they blame you. Great. See? I'm not talking about rescuing people who really need help. I'm not talking about people who are doing their absolute level best to get through something. And, they say, need a hand here. I'm dancing as fast as I can. That's not the same thing. I'm talking about people who will not help themselves, who will not step up, who are looking for people to carry them, who are looking for justifications for not doing the hard work, the heavy lifting. Why are you on a runaway train in the first place? Did you not see this coming? And, it's funny, they do. We do see it coming. How many times have we chosen to do something that was absolutely lunacy, complete and utter madness? And we said, we get caught up in the momentum of the adrenaline rush. Whee! And then, ow. Why do we do that? Because we're looking for the next adrenaline fix. And it's easier to get that doing something crazy. It takes a little more effort. It takes a little more strategy. It takes planning. It takes practice to get the adrenaline rush from something that's productive. It's so easy to say, oh, look, chaos. That's pretty much guaranteed to give you a runaway train effect. Harder to plan it, to orchestrate it, to make it deliberate and magical. Harder, and yet more sustainable. So I'm having this conversation with my friend, and I said, there's a couple of things, that we need to think about. We take on things, and then we feel somehow responsible for the outcome when it is not ours to own. And we feel terrible that we may have given a wrong impression that we can handle anything forever. And I said, I have this connection to this remarkable person, this really insightful, positive, mentor. And and many years ago, I heard her say two very powerful things connected. She said, "We have permission to draw a line in the sand and love people from afar." And when I heard her say that, it hit me like a ton of bricks, right in the oomph. And I thought, oh my God, that's it. That's it. And then my dad, at one point, much earlier in my life, I remembered that he had said something that had a similar kind of message. And it was this: don't help people who won't help themselves. Don't help people who won't help themselves. Don't take on the engineer's job on the runaway train if it's not your train. Don't do it. It's not yours to own. Can you help? Are they trying? Do they just need you to step in and fill in and hold this while I do that? Different story. But when someone says, okay, here's what you're going to do, and they tell you this utterly mad sequence of tasks that are not only completely lunatic and ridiculous and unachievable, they could cause actual harm. And then they follow up with, and if you love me, you'll do it. That's emotional blackmail. So, no, if I really love you, I won't. And the difficulty that we have with people who control from the one down position, the difficulty we have with people who have an agenda that somehow involves handing all of the heavy lifting to you, is that they don't want to hear what you have to say. They just want you to do it. They just want you to do it and go away so that they can carry on with whatever silly ass thing they've planned in the first place. So it doesn't matter how we try to explain to them what is flawed in their logic. It's useless. It's a waste of our breath. It's a waste of our effort and our energy. So when I was talking with my wonderful friend, I said, discussing it with people who are screaming, discussing anything with people who have their fingers in their ears, who are going la la la, is a stalling tactic. What do you mean? I said, you're trying to find a way to fix the problem without saying no. You're trying to get them to take ownership of something they don't want to own, even though it is theirs to own. They're hoping you'll take ownership. That way they're not responsible. If it works, they win. If it fails, you lose. Why would they listen to a cogent argument about Plan B? What's in it for them? Nothing. And she said, yes, but and I said, stalling tactics don't look like stalling tactics. They look like efforts to educate. They look like efforts to collaborate. They look like efforts to make it work with a better plan. That's not what you're doing. That's not what's going on. And then I said, when we can give ourselves permission to take a step back, when we can give ourselves permission to draw a line in the sand And so we're over here looking at that over there. A couple of very interesting things happen. One is we can see the madness. We can see the blind foolishness because we can see the big picture. You're trained. Me. Why am I writing it? Why am I trying to fix it? Why am I trying to stop it from going? Why? Why would I do that? How is that even remotely rational? Why are you even having the conversation with yourself? Because you're stalling. Because your conscious brain is trying to have something intelligent that rationalizes saying no to somebody when you would rather say yes. Sometimes no is the best, kindest, smartest, short-term, medium-term, long-range thing to do. Otherwise, we just keep banging our heads up against walls, riding runaway trains off cliffs. Have you seen that meme? It's a car going off a cliff, and you can hear the voice thingy in it going, recalibrating. I said to my friend, we have 24 hours in a day, every day. You know what's really interesting about those 24 hours? We use them. We use all of them. Every time. You get a fresh 24 hours every day, and every day we use them. So the question, let's see now, Patrick. Good morning, Patrick. Let me see. Sometimes people ask me to show them how to do something as a way of getting me to do it for them. Or people who deliberately do something really badly so they never get asked to do something again. Patrick. Okay, you're going to have to answer, Patrick, because this is brilliant. I'll come back with this business about the train. Patrick, we were having a read through for You Can't Do That on Television one day, and it was so read throughs we did every weekday after school. All the kids would come, and Leslie and I would be there, and the director and the writers. Right, we're all sitting around this big boardroom table, and I forget who it was. It might have been Patrick. The kitchen is an absolute disaster, right? Every pot and pan and utensil and surface is covered with a mess. It's just hell. And Dad says something like, "Well, our work here is done," and the kid says, "Gee, Dad, we've dirtied everything in the kitchen." "That's right, son. Shouldn't we do something about it?" "No, son. I'll tell you why not. If you make a big enough mess, you never get asked to do it again." I'm sitting there reading. I'm not in the sketch. I'm reading. I'm going, aha! Everybody jumped. I looked at Roger and I said, "Really?" And he said, "Yes." I looked at Les. I looked at Brenda. She's saying, "Where have you been living?" I thought, what? Again, you see, my thinking is if you're going to be in the kitchen, you're going to try and do a great job and clean up as you go. No, apparently not. Slacker. So this business, going back to the conversation, this business of falling for the technique is a way of stalling, is a way of prolonging the agony. Yes, don't encourage your father, Patrick. It's more like don't encourage Roger. He wrote it. I'm sitting there. What? Brenda says, "You're a little old to be surprised by this, aren't you?" Shut up. So here's the thing about people who control from the one down position. Falsely vulnerable, applied helplessness gives them the ability to take no ownership of anything. Now, the downside is they also can't control the outcome, right? They can't control the outcome. But they don't really care. If they cared, they'd have been doing it. But it's something that they don't really want to be part of. They want to be able to say, well, I didn't know. How was I supposed to know? They love the idea of completely being able to walk away. And so here I'm talking with my friend, and I said, but there's another side to stalling. And it's this. For every moment that we invest in helping someone else, we delay the work required to help us. We get to stall. We get to prolong the agony. Why would we do that? Why would we prolong the agony? Why wouldn't we want things to be just absolutely fabulous right now? Well, for the same reason that we don't do the dishes, for the same reason that we don't make the bed. It's not that we can't be bothered. It's that it's not very much fun, really, being responsible, being mature, taking care of things. Except that it takes less time to take care of it than it does to stall and prolong it. And finally say, okay, fine, I'll do it. And the other thing is, we have to look ourselves in the mirror and say, I want to win. I want this to change. I want to be in charge of my train. I want my outcome to bloom and grow and thrive. I want to see what's waiting for me on the other side. Because a lot of us are afraid. And it's reasonable to be afraid of the things we don't know. I mean, that's a pretty primitive thing, right? Subconscious is saying, well, we don't know what's out there. I mean, we do know there's saber-toothed whatnots. They may not be there right now, but let's just stay inside. Let's just freeze and hide. Maybe it'll all go away. Yeah, okay. But by the way, hungry. By the way, need the bathroom. So what we fail to do for us is look at how many steps there are in this learning curve, in this leaping curve. We fail to say, well, it doesn't actually look that hard. We fail to examine what is required of us. It's easier. There's less direct cost to us if we chase madly after someone else's runaway train. It's easier. Why? Because then our outcome either. We are as guilty as they are for making it ours to own. As my dad said, don't help people who won't help themselves. As my dad also said, we can't help anyone if we don't help us first. Sounds selfish. It's not. If we're exhausted, how can we help? If we're hungry, how can we help? If we're in pain, how can we help? Ownership has a responsibility. It also has the most magnificent spike the ball, I'm walking here component. And then the other part of this whole conversation I had with my friend was the way to have a conversation with anyone who is trying to pass the buck, who is trying to get someone else to do their heavy lifting for them, is to find language they can't argue with. And she said, well, yeah, you're the wordsmith, easy for you. And I said, no, it isn't easy for me. there, there are little drops of blood on the pointy edges of my desk where I've been banging my head against it, trying to think of the right thing to say, the right thing to write. When I did a Christmas program for many years, 25 years actually, in a little town south of Ottawa called Manotick. This other actor and I, we dressed in vintage costumes as Father Christmas and Merry Christmas. And we strolled through a village and we rode on horse-drawn wagons with the villagers 3 weeks before actual Christmas in order to be part of the mood in the village, getting in the spirit of, realizing that we only have so long and have you started your wish list yet. And we had so much fun talking with seniors and kids and, hardworking parents and whatnot who said, you know what, let's go and have breakfast with Father and Merry Christmas and let's go and ride the horses. Easy, fun thing to do. And one year it was unseasonably warm. We didn't have to wear everything we owned underneath our costumes to walk around the village. And somebody came up to us and said, hey, Merry Christmas. Where's the snow? It's green. And I said, oh, it's back ordered. I don't know where that came from. I just opened my mouth and there it was. And the thing that was really funny, they sort of blinked and then laughed. What was really funny about it is here we are in a shopping center. So the whole thing is a retail experience, right? And I've said the one thing that makes retail sense. You know what's very interesting about saying it's back ordered? Is that when people are complaining about something, well, when is it coming? And why don't we have it? And I've been looking and I can't seem to, can you help me? I don't know. If we pay attention to the language they are using, and we do our best to translate what we need to say into the kinds of words they are willing to hear, to get them to take their hands off their ears, la, 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 and saying what? If we get them curious enough, an interesting thing happens. Inadvertently, they're now having the conversation. They're not running away. The minute they're in the conversation, they're in the boat. They're figuring out something to say in return, and then saying, I wouldn't know what to do. It's too late. They're engaged. So when we order something, it's a very different thing to read. You're online or you're in a store. It's a very different thing when you ask the question, can I have this? Does it come in blue? Does it come in this size? And blah, blah, blah. It's a very different thing if the person on the other side of a conversation says, it's out of stock. That's a flat no. That's a conversation killer. It's out of stock. It means I wash my hands of it. There's none left. There's no more. Nothing I can do. That's like the waitress saying it's not my section. Well, could you go and tell the waitress whose section it is that we've been sitting here? I guess. Okay. We've all been there. So out of stock means go away. When you're looking for the thing on the shelf and there's a thing that says out of stock. End of story. Unless you're prepared to push it and you go and you say, so it says out of stock. Is there any way of finding out when it might be restocked? Now they have to come up with an answer. The better thing to say is this. It's back ordered. Why is it a better thing to say? Because it's really essentially the same thing. If it's back ordered, means it's not in stock, right? It's essentially the same thing. Back ordered means that many people are in this boat with you. Many people have the same goal. And it is somehow perceived by us to just be a delay. No more, out of stock, empty is the end of the conversation. Back ordered means sometime soon, sometime in the not forever future. And you know what that gives us? Hope. It gives us hope. So when I said to this guy in a shopping area, "Where's the snow? It's back ordered." He laughed because out of stock means everyone else got one before. Exactly. Exactly. Out of stock means loser. Exactly. You missed the train, you missed the boat. So back ordered means we are part of a phenomenon. We're not alone. We're in this together. We may not have the thing we want, but then neither do the rest of us. So we have something in common. It's a different mindset. And every single one of these conversations, I was saying to my friend last night, there's a couple of reasons why I smile a lot. One is that smiling feels good. It does. It triggers all the positive endorphins, and right away you feel taller and everything. I said, but the really long range thing is that when you're smiling, there are fewer frown lines. I mean, there's still stuff going on, but I'm cheerful about it. And it's engaging. If I'm smiling, if I'm saying we and thee instead of then it's more fun to hang out with me. And then we're all in the boat together, smiling. We're not wondering why somebody left us with the boat. We don't know how to row it. We don't feel abandoned, set adrift, rudderless on the ocean. So this idea that someone feels obliged, first in line for the next time. Very nice, Patrick. Very nice. You have a future in human resources. When someone wants us to resolve their problem for them, when they, A, have caused the problem in the first place, and B, show no indication whatsoever of any interest in solving it, we are a special kind of idiot if we say, okay. We have lost sight of the point of the exercise. We have conveniently forgotten that we have enough stuff going on in our lives that we can fill every single minuscule split second, one of our 24-hour days with our stuff. With our stuff. What are we doing? Putting our stuff on hold to take care of their stuff when it's not our stuff to own. What are we doing? Are they saying, my pants are on fire, can you help me? In that case, yeah, I can help you. I got a minute, sure. And if they're standing there saying, I don't want to, you do it. I don't feel like it. You're so big and strong. Why are we doing that? Why are we abandoning our train? What do we think we can accomplish? And the answer is, well, we think we can multitask. We think we can be all things to all people at the same time. So first of all, no, we cannot be all things to all people, ever. And two, the definition of multitasking is doing many things badly. If we try to help them and their train was a disaster already, we have a very, very good chance of failing. And then they can blame us. Because if they did it and they failed, they'd have to take ownership. They'd have to blame themselves. So if we step in, good. They didn't really care if it turned out anyway. And secondly, they don't have to own it. So we do that. While we're doing that, frantically, anxiously, because we don't really have time to be in two places at the same time, we are now royally screwing up the thing that actually matters to us, because we think we can do more than one thing at the same time well. And this would be wrong. Proven over and over and over again since the dawn of time. Really? So, in the question, what if I can't stop the runaway train? The answer is it your train? If it's not your train, why are you trying to stop it? Why isn't somebody else trying to stop their own train? And if, for some reason, you decide, what the hell, I'm going to do everything I can anyway, and you realize that it is about to plunge off the cliff into the abyss, don't ride with it. Get off the train. Why? Because what good does it do anyone to destroy your own self, your own energy, your own agenda that wasn't yours in the first place? You're being kind? No. What you're trying to do is control things. You're trying to be the alpha. And those other people are perfectly willing to let you do all the work. I don't want to clean my room. Fine, then go outside. I'll clean it. Why? What did you just teach them? What did that accomplish? Well, I just hate the room dirty. No. You have these creatures. They're going out into the world. Do you want to just spread their mess everywhere and inflict it on everyone? Do you want to just perpetuate the problem? Take the time, tell them, and have a punishment that's real. Teach them. Live with it. Look the other way until they get it right. If they truly are struggling and they don't know how to do the job, that's a different story. Allow me to show you. We will do it together. There's nothing wrong in that. If this is your job, if part of your job is if you have a share investment in the train, good. But it's their train, fine. Help them figure it out. Don't try to figure it out for them. Why? Because then they never learn. Then they're perpetually helpless. And if they don't keep inflicting it on you, they're going to find somebody else to inflict it on. So the conversation with my fabulous friend was a conversation about how much fun are you having struggling with this? How fabulous does it feel that you're going to make a difference? And the answer was, I'm not going to make a difference. This happens all the time. Then, if you're not making a difference, why are you doing it again? If the status quo remains the status quo, why are you enabling it? Why are you enabling somebody who does not want to own the thing they own? Why are you perpetuating the problem? Why are you contributing to the pointlessness of the exercise? And I just feel so guilty. Okay, so that's you. That's you indulging in your excuse to not be firm with yourself. You have the power. You are permitted to draw a line in the sand, to establish your boundaries, and clearly tell the people you love, I love you. This is not goodbye. I am loving you from afar. This problem is your problem. It is not mine. And then walk away. Live to fight, to smile, to laugh, to win another day. Walk away. Part of the conversation we were having, there were three things that had been going on that were very similar in the complication. And the similarity was that the person who had to make a decision didn't want to make a sensible decision. What they wanted to do was create chaos. So there was no opportunity to make any decisions. Create so much going on that no solution is possible. Prolong the agony. Why? Because it's exciting. Because there's all this stuff going on. And as we explored each one, I kept saying, and how does this involve you in any way? And there were three different answers, and yet they were the same answer. The different answers were, they're not very good at this, and I am. They're not willing to do the work and impose the self-discipline, and I can. They don't want to be responsible for the outcome, and I will. And I said, okay. So you are stepping in to do a thing, to fill a vacuum, because nature hates a vacuum. So you are creating a solution in this moment that will not solve the long-term problem. No. Okay. So then this is the rule. And I did it all my life. I did it all my life. And it got to the point a couple of years ago, I was actually doing stand-up comedy about it. I said, I've finally written it down. I have a piece of paper. It's stuck to the wall in front of me, beside the computer screen, just there. You know what it says in big, bold letters, capitals? That I can does not mean I should. They're not connected. It's this. That I can, I should, incorrect. That I can does not mean I should. No, they're not connected. That you can step in and do the thing that they're reluctant to do does not mean you should. Let's not get into it's not my job, it's not mine to own, it's theirs, and if only they. Simplify, simplify, simplify. If they don't know how and they're not willing to learn, not your job to say, never mind, it's okay, it's okay. I've got this. Not yours to own. That you can, that you took the time to learn to get good at it does not mean you should carry them. That achieves nothing in the long term, right? If they simply want the thrill of the adrenaline rush, it's a guarantee that whatever crazy disaster they have triggered now, they're going to trigger again. different actual disaster, but the intention is the same. They're addicted to the rush. Can you control it? Can you fix the madness of it? Can you be the one to step in and do the sensible stuff that frees them up to go, whee? You can do that? Okay, you can do that. That you can does not mean you should. Why? Well, what's in it for you? Are you having fun? Are you enjoying the fact that you are saving the day? Is this the white knight thing with the cape? Is that feeding something for you? Yes? Different conversation. Is that your own little adrenaline thing going on? The point is, you cannot live two lives. Certainly not simultaneously. You cannot step into their shoes and walk their path and deal with their problems and come up with their solutions and carry them around from point A to point Z and live your life. You can't. You cannot be in two places at the same time. So where in any of the instructions does it say, step one, set life aside and chase after everyone else and take care of everyone else? Where does it say that? I've seen a lot of instructions for a lot of stuff. Haven't necessarily followed them, but I've seen a lot of instructions. And you know what? Never, ever, ever, ever have I seen an instruction that says, set life aside and do their work for them. Nowhere does it say that. It's crazy. His daughter could help, but she doesn't want to. Well, then why are you helping? I feel badly for him. It's perfectly okay to feel badly for him. Why are you helping? How much time does this take? You're not his daughter. No. What are you doing? I just wish I could say, okay, so what are you doing? What are you doing for you? What are you doing that makes you smile? What's your happy day? I don't really have one. Okay, then. Probably that's wrong. What are you doing? Well, I just don't know. I just don't know. I mean, they're asking me impossible, and I just don't know. They're asking me impossible? Yes. Then that's the answer. What you're asking is impossible. No. Well, they never take no for an answer. Then tell them it's back ordered. Tell them the solution they want is in the mail. And you don't work for the courier company. My hands are tied. It's back ordered. The conversation today, what if I can't stop the runaway train? The first question is it your train? That's the all-important question. Because once we know the answer to that, there are many, many options available. The biggest thing is to remember why we came, why we're here. I want to make the world a better place. Okay, very nice. Why are we here? Why am I here? I'm here to live my life. I'm here to fill each of the 24 hours of every one of my days productively. Is one of the outcomes of my doing that contributing to a better place? That would be nice. That'd be great. Am I sitting here complaining and whining and kvetching? I'm not contributing then. I'm being annoying. Am I doing anything worthwhile if I'm not looking after me because I'm chasing after somebody who won't look after them. That's remarkably stupid, really. That's counterproductive on every level. So the message today, in all of these things that I want to say, is that we don't have to be heroes 100% of the time. If we have a white knight complex because we were once a victim and we don't want those things to happen to anyone else, fine. Fine, I grasp it. I'm guilty of it too. The first question is it my train that I'm trying to save? No? Okay then. After we establish whose train it is, then we can talk about the best way to change the outcome of the day. And we have all kinds of tools for that. This is what pivotry is all about. So this conversation today is talking about facing the right way. Is it our train? Simple question. Is this runaway train ours to own? Just because it's a runaway doesn't mean we set aside everything. Absolutely does not. We have to be part of the solution. We can't just run screaming into the abyss. It serves no one. Is that selfish? Yes. Yes, it is. However, it is productively selfish. Unlike the people who are saying, I don't feel like it. I don't want to. You're not the boss of me. That's a different kind of selfish entirely. What we're talking about here is behavior based on ownership. And the only thing we truly own is this moment right now. This is it, right now. And we, together, are in this moment, thinking about this, having this conversation. We are saying, yeah, I've been doing a lot of that useless, pointless stuff lately. I got to get a better grip. Why? Because we want to be productive. We want to grow. We want to thrive. We want to prosper. And we want to enjoy the pride of a job well done. We don't want to walk around sighing at all of our lost opportunities that were thrown away. We want to be able to say, today was a good day. This moment, stellar. Right? That's the goal. Pivotry in motion. And the live show I'm going to do that is very funny. It's going to make you laugh really hard. It's going to make you say, oh, God. Yep. And then it's going to be an opportunity for us to discuss and think and plan and do things that make us feel like we're walking here. And we want to walk here again. That's the purpose of my show coming up. That's the purpose of Pivotry in Motion. That's the purpose of the conversation about how do we make it better. Not how do we carry the slackers. How do I figure out a way to carry more slackers? Because there seems to be more of them every time I turn around. That is definitely not ours tomorrow. So here we are at the end of Thor's Day. And I have been having wonderful conversations about this exercise in finding a way to say thank thee, to make it inclusive, to make this something that we are in together. And it's been really fun so far. Everybody I'm talking to is saying, yeah, I like that, thank thee. I like it a lot. And, with practice, we get slicker at it. We get gooder. So the weekend is upon us, and I am on a mission. I'm looking for venues, for stage areas, for opportunities, places where this new show of mine, I can perform, I can get it booked, I can draw audiences, I can get people from different organizations and groups involved in being part of this whole conversation. Because as I said on Tuesday, part of the reason for doing the show obviously is to introduce pivotry and make it part of the everyday conversation. And the other is to connect with these amazing service dog groups and organizations that are training dogs to help us get through our tough times and lean into the good times. I want to be part of that solution too, and I know you do as well. So all of this is all focusing on building a better train, getting it on the rails, making it something that we're all building the momentum for. And it's really exciting. And we are making it happen. Thee and me. So next few days until I get back, until we come back next Tuesday for the next episode in this interesting saga, is going to be busy. It looks like we have maybe better weather, which is very exciting. I'm sure there's lots of things planned on your agendas. And the only thing left to say is the drill that we follow at the end of every single one of our videos together. Be good to thee. Be good to we. Be good to us. We deserve it. Stop carrying the slackers and the grifters. Let them learn how to be the heavy lifters. And remember our loved ones. They are the reason we're here. We are the reason they came. We're all in this together. And this, you know, there are times when I have low energy. And then I do a couple of things. One of them is that I walk myself over. I have a big calendar on the wall. That's why sometimes when I'm looking up, I'm not so much looking for inspiration from my muse. I'm trying to figure out what day it is. And what have I already promised I'm going to do? Every time I look at that calendar and I see that there's another video coming, it makes me smile. It really does. It's the best part of my day every day, because we are doing something magical together. And I cannot thank thee, I cannot thank we enough. So, thanks for watching. See you next time.